Hello there, it's Annie with Arachne's Demise, coming at you with a fun soap I've been really excited to do. Can't wait to get started here. We have a lot of stuff going on. First off, we have our olive oil, which I always start with. And then over here is my lye solution, and I have dissolving in it a little bit of Dead Sea salt. It all didn't completely dissolve, but I wanted to have the benefits of the sea salt in the bar without the chunky pieces of salt being in there. I thought more of it would dissolve, but as you can see, we still have some chunks. I'm going to strain that out. One thing I noticed when I got my lye solution ready last night, I got everything ready last night. I always prep my lye ahead of time, and I added the salt, and it didn't heat up as much as the lye normally does when I'm getting that ready. So very interesting. I've never done that before, and it was really kind of an interesting process. So yeah, there's that. I'm going to get that combined with my oils here, and then I'll tell you about the plan of this soap today. Strain out my salty chunks that remained. I'm kind of bummed that all didn't dissolve, but a good amount did dissolve though, from what I had added in there. So alright, I'm going to run my blender now. To this, I am going to add some natural unrefined cocoa butter. It has a nice chocolatey smell, which should be interesting with the fragrances I chose. And I've got two little sample fragrances that I'm going to be using up today. Combined, the scent is going to have some cranberry, some plum, some white grape, as well as concord grape, with just a touch of spice and sort of mysterious, almost floral musk rounding it out. And I like the two of these together smelled really nice, and there wasn't enough to make a decent sized batch of soap with just one of them. I like to blend a lot. So we're doing that. Add my yummy cocoa butter. And I'm going to whip this up here. It smells really nice. It does kind of have that chocolate covered cranberry thing going on with that. Now, the goal for this soap here, we're going to do some Dead Sea mud in here as well. Lots of Dead Sea going on with this. I'm going to pour a little bit of batter into 2 cups. I'm going to color that with a little bit of gold mica, and then a little, 2 different colors of mica, actually some like crimson mica and some pink mica to kind of get like a burgundy thing going on. And what's left over of the batter we're going to do with the Dead Sea mud. What I want here is a layer of Dead Sea mud at the bottom, Dead Sea mud soap. And then I'm going to layer the pink and gold, kind of in a tiger stripes thing. Those 2 colors, and then another bit of the Dead Sea mud soap on top. And a nice little line of Dead Sea salt sprinkled on the top of the soap after I give it some texture. The Dead Sea salt that I get is organic. It's harvested right from the shores of the Dead Sea and totally unrefined. It's got a nice gray color because of all the minerals in there. This is the most mineral-packed salt that really exists. One thing that I did, some of these leftover blue bottles that I really am not using, is I've been pre-diluting my mica with some rice bran oil, just kind of using the ones I use a lot and getting them liquefied here. This one is my 24 karat gold, which is nice because then all I have to do is give her a nice squirt. This one I'm mixing some primrose pink mica with some crimson mica, that burgundy color, a nice little squirt. This is a really cool toned pink, which should work for the color I want with the this really warm crimson. I can add more as I go. Look how pretty that is. Alright. I want to get these up first because these are the ones that need to be a little bit more liquidy as I go. So I'm just going to give them a quick zip. Pretty. Okay. One quick pass with my spatula, just because I want to make sure it's all incorporated. I don't want to blend too much with my stick blender. I've been learning that sometimes you just want to mix by hand, keep things from getting too thick. Now, my dead sea mud portion of this batter, I do want to be on the thicker side because it has to hold up the layers. So I'm going to add that in, and I'm going to blend that a fair amount here. I love the supply that I get my mud from. It's such a great price, and it is just so rich. It's such a nice texture all on its own. Never made a soap with it yet, but we're gonna do that now, and I'm really pumped about how it's gonna go. So let me blend that up here too. It's nice and thick how I want it for the layering. But as you can see, it's not very dark. I want it to be darker. So one thing I have here is some black mica that's been diluted. So I'm going to add a little squirt of that and mix that up. Could have added charcoal, but I have the black mica already here, and I kind of want the Dead Sea mud to be the special part about this. I've already got charcoal soaps, so no offense charcoal, but I don't want you in this recipe. I'm going to blend this in real quick. Still going to add a little more. Maybe the right color. I don't want it to be black, I just want it to be a little darker gray, because it's going to change after it's cured too. Okay. Alright, looking good, looking good. I'm going to do about half of this into my pan. Move these out of the way, they're going to be next. I think I'm going to do a gold pencil line in between all my layers too. I want to call this soap Boudoir. I don't think I've said that yet, but to me this scent is really just kind of a sexy, romantic bedroom kind of smell. So that's the name I chose. And this is a thick pour, but that's what we're going for. We want it to be a thick layer, so my other colors don't dip through it when I pour. Just a nice even layer at the bottom here with my spatula. This guy off real quick. Alright, pencil line time. My sifter and my undiluted gold mica. Very gentle with this application. You don't want too much, or else your layers aren't going to stick together, and that's definitely not good. The sifter helps you from getting too big of chunks of mica when you're doing the line, or whatever you choose to do your line with. Always give it a blow. It's kind of messy, but evens it out. Sometimes you need that. Okay, that's good. This is pretty thick here, but we're going to just do some thin layering. I don't need these to be perfect swirls. I want it to be textured looking. Alternate my pinkish with my goldish. Definitely thick. That's okay. It's gonna look cool once it's cut into. Maybe a little more gold. We've got some spaces up on that. Like right there. This would be a fun one to cut open. You don't really know what you're gonna get. I'm glad I went with the unrefined cocoa butter in this. It cuts some of the sharper sweetness that goes along with using a fruity smell, especially a fruity smell that's got the dark fruits, which can be overpowering. And I always feel like it's kind of medicine-y smell, and I don't like that. This one's got enough, a little bit of spice and a little bit of musk that really make it sexy smelling. I definitely think of this as a feminine soap too. Not to discourage men from using it, but it's kind of a girly smell. Spread out these silly little layers. Because it's thicker, each bar is going to look a little bit different on the inside too, which I always think is kind of fun. Right. Got enough for one more gold layer. This will be my last pink layer. I still added the sodium lactate to my lye water because while I did dissolve the salt in there, I'm not sure how much that's actually going to help firm it up. I believe it should, but I've been really enjoying cutting my olive oil soaps the next day instead of like 2 weeks later, which I used to have to do. It would still be sticky after 10, 14 days too. Not even kidding. With my water discount and the sodium lactate, holy cow. Cutting up like a dream. Smack that out. Alright, last layer of gold. Here we go. One of these fragrances here, I can't remember which one out of the two that I use, it said it might turn your soap batter blue temporarily, but it would fade after 24 hours. And as you can see, it's not blue, but I thought, oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. Science of soap, everyone. Get every little bit out of there. So I'm just going to throw these cups away. And then, alright, a little bit of a smooth. I'm going to tap it out. I've got the rest of my mud soap to put in on top. Before we do that, we're going to just a little bit more gold mica for a layer. It's not smooth on top, as you can see it's textured, but I'm going to leave it like that because I think that's interesting when you cut it open, and it's kind of mountainous. that's a word. So I'm gonna leave it. Gold and all the nooks and crannies though. Love my pencil lines. Okay. Last layer. I'm seeing my little special off a little bit. I'm realizing that my camera is kind of crooked, but I don't want to get lye over it. It's about as good as it's going to get without me gunking up my whole thing. So we're going to leave it. It's nice thick mud soap here. It's very thick. That's what we want for the design on the top. Very rarely do I soap this thick, on purpose at least, but sometimes it calls for it. I don't think many people go for a gray on purpose, but I like it, especially with the gold and the pink that we're doing. I think it's just going to be elegant looking. At least I hope it is. I should have my big spatula for this scooping, but you know what? I don't want to have to go grab it. I'm just going to move it on here, which is my little guy. And the little guy will be good for my little top design that I'm planning. Still got some in here. Very thick. It's not really pouring, as you can see. I gotta scoop it. Last bit's tricky right now. Alright, so give it a tap and rotate it. It's definitely a dense soap. Time to smooth it up. Need a little river of Dead Sea salt. I want to get it even before I do anything fancy. I don't usually go crazy with the textured tops. I usually don't have myself this thick. But other people tend to love that, so. I'm just winging it here if you can't tell. Screw up everything I just did because I'm not liking it. I want to do the salt right down the middle. I'm going to give it a place to rest. It doesn't like that was going on the sides. I don't know how I'm feeling about this right now. Like the smooth tops. But, alright, we're going for it. reaching here. Just a nice little line on the tippy top. Probably gonna end up playing with the sides after I do this, even though I shouldn't. Okay, I kind of did what I wanted it to. I'm gonna be a bad girl and mess with this just a little bit more. Don't worry about that end. That end will be chopped off. Okay. And here you are going, stop. Stop, leave it. I'm gonna leave it. Check out that bad boy. This is Boudoir. Dead Sea salt infusion with the Dead Sea mud and some cocoa butter and fun smells. And let this guy set up. And we are going to chop. In the future, I will see you there. Welcome to the future, guys. I woke up this morning and decided to check on my Boudoir soup here. And I cut the ends off. I was really kind of nervous with the way this was going to look because it got a little bit thicker than I wanted it to. Not even that I wanted it to. It's just I'm not used to working with it when it's that thick. So it was a little bit of a mystery if it was going to turn out the way I wanted. Cut the ends off. It cut really cleanly. I have it on its side so the salt that's right here doesn't get dragged through when I cut it. And as you can see, it's got a really cool design in the middle. It's not colors I wanted. I wanted burgundy and more of a deeper gold. It might turn a little bit deeper as we go, but probably not. But it's got a really cool swirl action, so we're going to get cutting and we'll see what the other parts of the swirls look like. Alright. I'm very happy with the way that it smells. It's still very strong during this first day here. With those really juicy dark fruits. A little hint of mysterious floral musk situation. I'm not even really sure what that mysterious note is. And then the natural cocoa butter just makes it so tasty smelling. I shook off most of the salt on the top that didn't stick. I mean, if it's gonna fall off anyways, I might as well get it to fall off when I, before I get packaging and all of that. Still a little bit falling off as I'm cutting here. I'm gonna have to tighten up my wire cutter. There we go. Whoops. There's a little wiggle mark there, but here we go. That's the side you saw. Cool swirls. That little draggy mark. Oh, it's on the other side. Hold on, it's on this side. Here we go. I really am liking that. Yeah, this was a fun experiment. I like to, every now and then do something I'm not quite used to. Putting the Dead Sea mud, I'm going to tighten this up here, and the Dead Sea mud in with it. Was cool. I think it's going to make a really nice bar to use. Also happy I did a water discount because I was thinking after the fact, if I didn't do a water discount, the mud obviously has water in it. So it may have set up weird if I didn't do the water discount. But I'm doing a water discount on literally almost all my soaps now. Because of how nice they're setting up for me. I do have a really fun soap plan. I'm going to do this a little bit later on today. Keep it a secret for now. Wait till that video. That one I won't be doing a water discount because I'm not using water. There we go. Alright, so there's that side up close. Some little bubbles. Oopsie daisy. Just a fine gold pencil line. I like the look of that. I did end up with a little bit more of the batter on the bottom than the top, as you can see. We're just gonna act like I did that on purpose, okay? Yes, we are. Got my little baby right behind me in her car seat. We had to stop at the post office this morning. It's a Saturday today, so I'll make sure I got there nice and early. And, well, she was up a lot last night, and she fell asleep on the car ride there. Well, technically on the car ride back. She was asleep until we're like 2 blocks away from the house. But I'm okay with it. I got my coffee going because I need a second cup today. Alright, back to cutting. The secret soap that I'm making later today is actually for her. I'm really excited about it. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and I'm finally going to just execute. Here. These are about 1-inch bars I'm doing. Pretty standard in my little blue loaf mold that I work with. I was talking with my dad. My dad is kind of like hippie Ron Swanson. Picture Ron Swanson with long hair and tie-dye, and that's my dad. But he has a sort of a men's fellowship thing, aka wood shop, where him and some of his buddies will get together, and sometimes they make things, and other times they just hang out and shoot the breeze and turn the lathe on to watch it spin, you know. But he does actually do some woodworking every now and then, and I think he, in the future, he's actually working on, in his new place in the garage, he redid the kitchen, and he saved all the old kitchen cabinets because they're gonna set those up in the garage for his sort of woodworking studio. And he might make me some soap molds. That would be awesome. I said, "Hey, Dad," and I pulled up some pictures online. I'm like, "How easy would this be for you to execute?" He's like, "Yeah, pretty easy." I'm like, "Sweet." And I showed him some of the soaps I've been working on. And obviously with my loaf mold, these sides are bowed out. And he's like, "No, do you want that curve on the wooden mold? That's going to be really hard to do." And I'm like, "No, we want to avoid that." I'm okay with it when it happens, but it's not, we're not after the bowed out side. It's kind of just a side effect of using baking pans. So I'm going to hopefully get a nice tall skinny mold. I kind of like my blue loaf mold, so maybe I'll do a regular width mold, I'm not sure, but I want a slab mold, like a big square or a rectangle, where they wouldn't be cut in tall bars rather than like wide bars, because I really like that. A lot of these ideas I'm planning now are more loaf style, but I like the slab mold a lot, and I just use cardboard boxes with liner for that now, and it works okay, but you only get so many uses out of cardboard before it's just all oily and weird. I really like how these are turning out, by the way. Hopefully you do too. Hopefully the camera is also picking up on the gold mica pencil line we're looking at. The swirls are really pretty in my opinion. Definitely no flat, even pour lines, but I don't care. I like when things are a little bit abstract. Okay. I'm cutting a little wide on these. Am I going to get 3 more bars out of this? Yes, I am. I think these are going to be denser than the normal bar because of the Dead Sea mud. The Dead Sea mud is so dense. Volume to weight ratio is off for sure. Here we go. big swirls. And there's the top, by the way. That's what my little salt river looks like. Pretty happy with it. Some little crumblies. Alright, last two. Pretty. And this is our last guy here. I'll clean these up once they're a little bit firmer and everything, as I tend to do. There you have it. This is the fresh cut Boudoir Castile soaps, enriched with that dead sea salt brine that I did, and Dead Sea mud, and natural unrefined cocoa butter. Hope you enjoyed watching me make this soap. I certainly enjoyed making it. It was a fun one for sure. Thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. I have got a lot of stuff that I'm making in the next couple of weeks, so if you want to be flooded with soap making, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time.